Walking north. How do you keep travelling north on a green day when you can't see the sun and you don't have a map? Molly did not need a map. She had lived all her life in the bush, and although the land here in the south was strange to her, she knew which way to go. Leaving the river behind them, they began to cross some low hills thickly covered with acacia bushes. The spines of the acacia leaves cut their bare legs, but the girls did not stop. Soon it began to rain. "We've got no coats," said Gracie. "We're going to get so wet." "Never mind," Molly said happily. "Rain is good. Think about the black tracker. He can't follow our tracks now because the rain will wash them away." With that happy thought, they went on walking through the rain, through woodlands and open ground, over hills and down valleys. When it began to get dark, Molly stopped to look around. "We gotta find a good, safe place to make a camp for the night," she said. "See that little hill down there, in that valley? It's full of rabbit holes. We'll dig a hole for us, make it big enough for three of us." "We gonna sleep in the ground like rabbits?" said Grace. "Nobody gonna look in a rabbit hole for us," Molly said. Daisy laughed. No, nobody will find us in there." They found an old, unused hole, and side by side they dug with their hands to make it big enough for the three of them. Molly had chosen a hole that faced east, because she had noticed that the rain always came from the west. They ate some of their dry bread, drank water from a little river in the valley, and climbed into their rabbit hole. It was crowded, but it was warm and dry and safe. They slept deeply. The next morning they were woken by the sound of rabbits running all around them. They thought hungrily about breakfast. A nice fat rabbit cooking over a fire. Gracie got up, chased a rabbit, caught it, and killed it. "What did you do that for?" said Maury angrily. "We got no matches to make a fire to cook it." "Well, I'm hungry," Gracie said miserably. She threw the dead rabbit away, and for breakfast they had lots of cool water from the river, and hard dry bread from their bags. It was the second meal of their journey. Gracie was still miserable. "Judu, we gotta go back to the settlement. We're gonna die out here. Please, let's go back." "You want to go back to the settlement?" said Molly angrily. "You heard what they'll do to us. They'll cut our hair off, give us a big beating, and lock us up in that prison place." Daisy stood silently, watching them and listening. "You want to go back? You're mad," Molly said. "We three came together, and we're going home together, so let's go." But Gracie refused to move. "I'm hungry, Judy. I want some meat, not just bread and water." Molly walked back to Gracie and put her arm around her shoulder. "Don't worry. We're going to find something to eat. You'll see," she said gently. "This country's different from all ours, so we got to learn to find their bush tucker. That's all. Come on, let's go along now." And so on they went, walking north under a grey sky, and with a cold wind blowing through their thin cotton dresses. They could not stop thinking about a meal of meat, hot damper, and sweet tea. They came to another river, but this one was shallow, and easy to walk through. Halfway across they heard voices, and stopped to listen, looking fearfully around them. Men's voices coming towards them. "Quick, hide," said Molly. She pulled her young sisters behind a thick bush, and pushed them to the ground. The voices came closer, speaking Marduk words. Molly looked out. It was two Marduk men returning from a hunting trip, carrying a large, cooked kangaroo. They were very surprised when the three girls ran out to meet them. "We're from Marble Bar," the older of the two men said. "Where are you two girls going?" "We're running away from the settlement," said Molly. "We're going home to Jigalong." "Well, you girls want to be careful," said the young tracker man. "I hear they got a Maru policeman, a tracker." He finds runaways and takes them back to the settlement. "He can't follow us in the rain," said Molly. The men gave them a cooked kangaroo tail, a box of matches, and a little box of salt. They shook hands with the girls and said goodbye. "Don't forget now. Go quickly. That Mardu tracker will be out looking for you soon." They went on walking until it began to get dark. Then they built themselves a shelter for the night, with branches of trees and bushes. They found lots of wood and made a fire in a hole in the ground in the middle of their shelter. That night they ate kangaroo tail, the last piece of a bread, and drank rainwater. Then they slept warm and comfortable around the fire in their little shelter. The next morning they finished the kangaroo tail, covered up the fire hole, and moved on. The rain had stopped, but there were more dark rain clouds in the west. By midday they were feeling very hungry again. Gracie walked more and more slowly. Once she fell down and just lay there saying, "We're gonna die. We got nothing to eat." Molly became angry. "Oh, shut up," she said. She pulled Gracie to her feet. "We gotta hurry. We gotta keep walking." Late in that afternoon, Molly gave a sudden shout. "Look, over there," she called excitedly. It was another small hill full of rabbit holes. "We sleeping in a rabbit hole again, Judy?" said Gracie. "No, we're gonna catch some rabbits and eat them." And they did. 2 fat rabbits were cooked over the fire that night. One was eaten and the other saved for breakfast. The 4th day began bright and clear, and after a breakfast of cold rabbit, they began walking again. The land was drier here, and the trees and bushes different. Sometimes they came to open grassland among the trees, but there were still plenty of thick bushes to hide under. Once they saw 2 big black kangaroos fighting. They watched, scared, from behind some bushes. "They're standing up and fighting like men," Molly said. "I'm frightened, Judy," said Gracie. "Me too, Judy," said Daisy, holding on to Molly's dress. Molly did not feel too brave herself. "We'll walk around then," she said. "Make a big circle. They won't see us." Later in the morning they stopped for a rest, sitting on a fallen tree. Everything seemed very peaceful until Molly suddenly jumped to her feet. "Quick, run to that big tree over there. Come on, hurry." The younger girls had no time to ask what was happening because Molly was shouting at them to climb the tree and lie still along the branches. They all did that and lay there waiting and listening. And then the 2 younger girls heard it too. It was a plane, a search plane. Was it out looking for them? The runaway girls from the settlement. They lay along their branches without moving, hidden by the leaves of the tree, while the plane circled above them. At last it went away, but the girls stayed still for some time, afraid that it would return. When they climbed back down, they were still worried, and walked along as fast as they could, keeping close to the trees. They did not notice the weather until the heavy rain began to fall, and soon they were wet to the skin, cold and miserable. Then they heard sounds they knew: chickens squawking, dogs barking, a gate banging. Somewhere nearby was a farmhouse. Then they saw it, in the valley just below them. When your stomach has been empty all day, you have to do something about it. Molly turned to the other 2. "Go down there and ask women for something to eat. Hurry up, I'll wait here and watch." Okay, finished. Well done. Next chapter is Finding the Fence.